for Asia. So what are the unique features of PulseChain and that differentiate it from other layer 1 blockchain? And do you believe it's currently undervalued, and why?
First of all, PulseChain is definitely one of the most undervalued layer one right now in the whole world, right? There are so many new blockchains that came out after a few successful ones, but there are also tons of it that started like very loud but did not sustain and survive. So PulseChain is actually live since 2023. It was $1 billion sacrifice project back in 2021 within just 19 days. So how come it has such huge impact, right? To me, right, PulseChain is exactly in the same position Ethereum was back in 2016. So massively undervalued, but full of potential. So let me talk a bit about what's PulseChain first, right? As a layer one, it's actually a EVM compatible. Why? Because it's a full fork of Ethereum. However, it's faster, cheaper, and greener. Okay, so it's also using a proof of stake mechanisms, right? And additionally, what makes PulseChain stands out in a way, aside from faster speed and cheaper fees, right? Because so many chains out there are talking about the same thing. So if you go to a site called strategicethreserve.xyz, well, it's a credible site that records all the Ethereum reserved by the companies, whether it's a Nasdaq public listed company or Web2, Web3 companies. So as you can see, the first page, when you scroll down, you are able to see the top 3 Nasdaq listed company that owns billions dollars of Ethereum. And the fourth one, it will be Ethereum Foundation, right? And the fifth one is going to be PulseChain. Okay, so this is something that proves the strength of reserve, a proof of reserve that not many chains out there, a new chain has, right? So this is the most bullish thing that people should be aware of for PulseChain right now, right? So as you can see, PulseChain actually has more reserve than Coinbase, okay? So additionally, it's also founded by a legendary, a visionary guy. His name is called Richard Hart. So he's the guy that founded Hex that was launched back in 2019, a DeFi pioneer OG project that did 10,000 next in 2 years' time back in the last cycle. Okay, so when you ask me what's undervalued today, my answer is very, very clear to you. It's gonna be PulseChain, right? So holding PulseChain now actually feels like having a time machine back to the early days of Ethereum, right? So I believe every one of you here, like definitely if there's a time machine, do you want to go back to the time where you are able to buy Ethereum back in the ICO days or when it just launched? I believe it's an absolute yes, right? But there's no such thing as time machine. However, here's another a window opportunity for many of the massive people right now that don't know about PulseChain yet. We are exactly in that spot right now. Okay, we are just maybe 80-90% above the all-time low price. Talking about entries, everybody else that hasn't got a bag of PulseChain, you guys are very fortunate. Okay, so come to the part where the host asks what's the unique feature of PulseChain that differentiate it from other layer one blockchain. Okay, so first of all, PulseChain is not just the typical new chain. Okay, it's what Ethereum should have been. Okay, the problem with Ethereum back then, it was because of the fees and the scales, right? That it went up too crazy. I myself, because Hex was a pioneer DeFi project that was launched on Ethereum back then, right? So when during the peak of 2021, at that time, a simple swap on Uniswap or any other decentralized exchange on ETH could easily cost you hundreds of dollars, right? It's not user friendly at all for many people. And to earn a stake or to stake something to mint an NFT, it could easily cost you thousands of dollars. So that is very not user friendly, right? And this is one of the major reasons why Richard Hart decided to build his own chain to help scale better, to provide a much friendly environment for the massive. Okay, so aside from that, PulseChain has a unique strength as compared to Ethereum is that it has a much better deflationary mechanics. Okay, why? Because a lot of the chains out there, they are either inflating endlessly, okay, but PulseChain, it actually burns fee, making supply scarcer, right? And it doesn't stop there because I'm sure everyone knows what's pump.fun, right? So pump.fun is actually one of the most traffic generated and also revenue generated protocols on Solana, okay? And we have that, it's called pump.tires. the difference between Pump.Fund and Pump.Tires, for Pump.Fund on Solana, they are actually generating fees in terms of Solana, and they will eventually dump back to the market on the Solana holders. As for Pump.Tires, it 100% burns all the Pulse fees collected, right? Because it's also a project collectively built and run by the Pulsechain team with only one purpose: to burn Pulse, to add the turbo boost for Pulsechain to deflate faster. So this is something different, and it's strategically well planned, genius things to have been done. Yeah. So this is one of the main key difference. It's called deflationary, right? So it strengthens the ecosystem instead of draining it. Okay. So for Pulsechain right now, we have more than 50,000 validators. Okay. As you know, the more validators you have, the much more stable and decentralized and better security for the chain to run, okay, to operate flawlessly, right? So we are looking at true decentralization right here. So Pulsechain is actually one of the most secure and distributed blockchains alive today. There are some chain, the big names I will mention who, but you can go and search it up. The validators they are either highly concentrated, centralized, and there are not many validators up and running. Okay, so aside from that, as Richard Hart is a genius marketeer, right? If you already know who is Richard Hart, he's a genius. Okay, so for Pulsechain to gain like absolute adoption. So PulseChain did a thing called the largest airdrop in crypto history. Meaning to say, if you ever own an ERC token on Ethereum back in before PulseChain launched, right? You can actually go and check it out, right? There's a few sites on PulseChain. You can paste your address. You don't need to connect anything, and you're able to see whether you get any airdrops. Okay, so every single ERC token holder got a free token airdrop on PulseChain, right? So that move instantly seeded liquidity, adoption potential, and also bringing in new users into the ecosystem. Okay, not to mention Richard Hart, he did a lot of outreach marketing, and for Hex, he bought the largest black diamond in the world. Okay, so yeah, and community power. After all, the foundation of everything, whether it's business, whether it's community for any Web3 projects out there, like from how Bitcoin got started and Ethereum and everything else that ran organically from grow from the community. What's the roots of it? It's people. Okay, so bringing in new users into the ecosystem is very important. The community power, right? The power of community is crazy. So I would tell you 100% confidently, one of the loudest and most organic growth communities in crypto today is definitely hexagons and pulsecons, right? So people are constantly building and spreading the message every single day. And while we speak right now, there's a in IRL campaigns, charity campaigns that is going on in somewhere in the US or somewhere in the Westerns, and it's done voluntarily by all the community members. They spend their own time and effort, their resources, their money to invest in a thing where they believe it's gonna shake the world. So that's the power of Pulsechain, right? So that's a charity marketing campaign that's going on out there, reaching out to the mass adoption that is outside of Web3, right? So these are the things that a lot of people don't actually know. Why? Because there are too many distractions in the world right now. Every day there are many. I God knows how many tokens launching every day, right? And everybody just want to chase the FOMO and just want to get involved in the pump and dump scheme, and in the end of the day became the exit liquidity. Why not do something with an infrastructure built and with something that actually has utility and a great, properly planned roadmap that has in the years to come, right? So Pulsechain is definitely one place that every single buzz up user shouldn't miss. Okay, so of course, Richard Hart, he's not another founder himself. Okay, I would like to talk a bit more about Richard Hart. I'm not sure Jane and you guys allow it. Is it okay? I have some time to talk about him.
Sure, sure.
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
definitely want to, listen to more of your insight.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So because I've got into Hex since 2019, day one of when Hex went live, right? So I actually watched his live streams, hours, like 8 hours, and I can honestly tell you, he's doing like absolute work, being the guy on the front, doing all the efforts just to make the world better. Okay, unlike Satoshi, the founder of Bitcoin, nobody sees him. But at least look at Ethereum. Vitalik. They are actually making move out there. So these are the founders that are really standing up and trying to make a change to the world, right? It's a revolutionary financial. That's why we are all here in the world of Web3, right? So he's not just another usual founder that you see. He's a Bitcoin OG, right? He's someone that actually mined Bitcoin when the rewards, the block rewards were 50 per block. Okay, he's definitely a genius marketer, a true visionary, and someone who holds strong to the core principle of blockchain. He's here to aim as a true decentralization. I'm not sure if you guys have visited some of our decentralized application of the official the apps of Pulsechain, Pulsex Hex. They are all hosted on IPFS, right? So how many projects out there actually do that? I would say less, minority. So this is what Richard Hart does, okay, and the team. So shout out to the team. They are doing absolute work. I'm grateful for whatever Richard Hart and the team has done from Hex until today, right? Aside from that, he even raised $27 million for medical research on longevity, all right? It's called sense.org back then, right? Right now, I think a little bit renamed, but it's a medical R&D that even back in those days, Ethereum also helped contributed some charity donations to it as well. So Richard Hart did that when back in 2021 when PulseChain announced that there will be a sacrificial phase for people to take part, right? So $27 million, poof, it's right there for the medical R&D for human longevity, right? So people like him, a true leadership, and trying to make a change to the world for the better. These are actions that he actually did it, right? A lot of people out there, they only just talk and talk and talk, not many with actions. And Richard Hart is doing exactly just that. Okay, so it's definitely a proof that he's here to do good and build for the long term. As you can see, the combination of fundamentals, leadership, and community is really what makes PulseChain unique, right? So everybody that gets to know about PulseChain today, I would say you are very fortunate, right? Just speaking on financial term, your entry is absolutely awesome. Okay, for many people of the top sacrificer, if I'm not mistaken, if they sacrifice like $300,000 and above, or even $1,000,000 right now, their entry price would be a little bit higher from now. So your entry price, whether you are just getting into your hands a bag of tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, the entry is really low. Okay, so I would say it has a very huge upside potential, right?
Okay, thank you, Asia. So I'm also saying that the ecosystem and infrastructure of PulseChain are comprehensive, and we all believe that PulseChain is the most potential layer one for the upcoming bull market.
The way I learned about literally pulse chains, I want to give a big shout out to the great conversations and recommendations from people here in the space. So it really caught my attention as I started to just see the impact and the passion within the community. I kind of want to just jump into it because I know we have a lot to discuss. What is Hex, and in what ways does it differ from traditional cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Sure. So Hex is a certificate of deposit on the blockchain. So instead of mining, that's what Bitcoin is. Is the Bitcoin, when you mine it, you get more Bitcoin. With Hex, you can stake it and you can time lock it to receive more Hex over time. And so it's the inflation works by what's called T shares. When you buy Hex, you have to use your Hex to purchase more T shares, and the T shares is what pays you the Hex. So that's the simplest way I can really explain it. But I mean, really, what it's drawn me to this crypto asset. Obviously, Richard Hart brought me here, but what kept me here is the community. So the community that revolves around Hex is the real reason why I'm here, and that is the true asset of the entire ecosystem. And the Pulse chain, all the assets, is this community. The community, I've not found anything like this, bar none. They are.
I don't know. You got caught up on the end. I did get the gist of it. And he did talk about staking. So I do want to kind of talk a little bit about that a little bit more in depth if you guys allow me. So how does staking work in Hex, and what are the benefits and incentives to participate?
See, we have Kairos on the stage. Do you want to address that, sir?
Yeah, I'd be happy to address that. So first, I think I want to say is Crypto Empress, thanks for having this space and for inviting all of us on. We're very grateful that you're willing to hear us out and give us a chance to talk about our community and what we're all about over here in Hex and PulseChain. What I want to say about the staking and like what makes Hex so special is when you think about a lot of yield-bearing assets, such as CDs at the bank that we typically get compared to. We think of we often say HEX for like the elevator pitch is that it's a CD on the blockchain. But I got a better way to describe it, is that HEX is the only yield-bearing asset that is not somebody else's liability. Nobody is liable or responsible for paying the yield on HEX. It is built into the programming. You could think of it as easy rewards on autopilot that's automatic. You're not dependent on a company to be profitable to pay the yield or pay the interest to you. You're not dependent on a government to be solvent to pay the interest to you. It just happens as part of the code, and it's supply increase program. You can also think of it as being like the subscription or preemptive rights that you would get in common stock. If you're from TradFi and you're familiar with how common stock works, they give you preemptive rights sometimes whenever they want to issue more shares of common stock, and they say, well, we don't want to dilute our current shareholders and upset them, so we'll give them first dibs on the new shares that we're going to issue so they can maintain their proportionate share of their ownership. But in HEX, it's like getting those preemptive rights, but you don't have to pay for them when you're staking. They're paid to you as a reward for taking your coins off the market, out of the circulating supply, and upholding the price. So think of it as a game where patience levels you up, because the longer the stake, the bonus, the greater the multipliers, the greater the bonus and everything. And that's really the advantage and the draw to staking your HEX on top of investing in HEX.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure meeting you. Also, I did give you a follow, and I have to say that was a great explanation of how, you really kind of nailed it. And another thing is, like, if you really believe in something, I mean, even myself, like, I like the long-term kind of, staking where you know that you don't even have to think about it. You just kind of getting some rewards. You believe in the ecosystem. So I love that you guys are kind of providing that for your investors.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us on again.
Yeah, so on the topic of staking, one of the questions that I really have is around security and risk considerations that an investor would need to consider with staking. What are some things you feel that we should watch out for, or that you guys have really put some hard work and dived into to make sure that potential investors and community members feel safe and secure in their investment when they do stake HEX?
RH Max, do you want to tackle that one? You're a security pro, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things on the security side with HEX. I mean, you have DeFi in general where, you can hold your own keys, you can use hardware wallet, you can do various, different strategies and stuff around that to keep them safe. We've got a lot of content about that in the community as well. You just search my channel or others, you could see all kinds of videos and tutorials and live streams on that. So we do a pretty good job of educating security in general in this community. And then on the HEX side, there is, it's immutable smart contract, and you can stake from 1 day to 15 years. There's different products built on HEX to make some of the stakes portable, HSIs. There's like a few different things like that. Lots of really cool products built on it to give you either more flexibility from what the native HEX staking provides already, or just allows you to manage things better, or different trade-offs there. So yeah, I think as far as the HEX side, it is a immutable smart contract. It's been audited, all that stuff, all the things you expect there. And so a lot of people, it's been 6 years. We're coming up on 6-year birthday coming up pretty soon on December 2nd. Haven't seen a hack of the HEX contract. So it's pretty amazing there. Pretty decentralized as well. A lot of the official front ends are on IPFS, which is very unique and a very interesting way to further decentralize things away from having custodial risk and all that stuff too. So a lot of the risks usually come from getting your money in and out with the either centralized exchanges or fiat on-ramps, kind of the necessary evil in the DeFi world. But everything else, the contract, the different strategies and different ways you can use HEX, a lot of people are pretty confident in the security side of it. And if you're not confident, again, we got plenty of educators in the community to help out.
I love that. We have a lot of educators, and this is what I love to see. And again, it goes throughout every chain. You do need education and security too as well. Like, even being on X, we have a lot of bad actors already, you know. So I love that you guys are coming together and educating. And I see a lot of you guys doing YouTube content, kind of engaging with your community. So I love that I see this in the sense of that you guys are very, very active with the community. So the next question I do want to kind of say is, how does X and PulseChain relate, and how do they complement each other within the broader ecosystem?
That's a pretty good question. I see we have Triplet Dad as a speaker. He's kind of an all-around guy. Do you want to tackle that, sir? How do Hex and PulseChain work together to complement each other?
So my opinion on that is that I would never have even joined X, honestly, if it wasn't for this ecosystem. It's not typical of my day-to-day is joining in and being part of an online community, but I was drawn to it through all the people within this community. The community within X is unbelievable within PulseChain. We have all the projects that are launching on PulseChain have a profile here on X, and it's where we come to get our news on a daily basis. And if you want to drill down a little bit more, they go into some Telegram rooms, right? But the PulseChain community on X, I don't think there's any other community with any other ecosystem that even touches this one.
We've been showing up for a while now. It's been it's been years. People really in the PulseChain community really push it on X. I think we are probably the loudest community in crypto.
I would
sure.
like to just add some stuff to what Max said. The portability of stakes within Hex is very, very important when we're talking about security. I know that Crypto Empress, if you were into meme coins, you probably just hopped in with a hot wallet and had your 12-word seed phrase and didn't have a ledger or a Trezor sitting in front of it. Having stakes that are portable so you can undo some of the things that you've done in the past is a luxury that we didn't have in the past, right? So if you do start stakes within the Hex ecosystems, there's several options out there. There's HSIs, there's the perpetuals, there's some stuff that we've built, Stakehouse, there's a actuator. There's a lot of ways to participate in Hex. And if you have a problem with a wallet, or you get a funny feeling, or if you have some accounting issues that you're trying to deal with taxes, there aren't many other staking platforms that I could think of that you can actually take your financial horsepower and move it to another wallet without any repercussions.
Yeah, man. I remember that was kind of one of the issues back then, you know, just the staking platform ordeal, like where some of them will get sometimes hacked or something happening with our staking, contracts and stuff. But it's kind of nice to hear that there's options and there's no kind of like you could just swap from wallet to a different wallet like without a problem. I did kind of want to just talk a little bit about what is PulseChain and why was it launched and separate blockchain, and what makes PulseChain an attractive option for developers compared to Ethereum, especially when launching dApps and new projects?
See, we have KG from Internet Money here, who has developed a wallet for PulseChain, the Internet Money wallet. Also works on all other EVM chains. Do you want to comment on that, KG?
Sure. Just mic check. Can everybody hear me?
Good.
Loud and clear.
Smooth.
All right. Crypto J and Crypto Empress, thanks for having us up here today. Good to meet you both. My name's KG. I'm the founder of Internet Money. And as Fast Abdul said, we are a crypto wallet. And you could think of us as a MetaMask replacement, but we are native to PulseChain. So we still work with any and all EVM chains. We're just native to PulseChain and have specialized features for PulseChain that no other wallet offers. We're available on Android, iOS, and Chrome. You asked about the builders. One thing that we were doing in the past as Internet Money was we were rallying all the builders on PulseChain of all the different applications, products, dApps, you name it. That's where we focused a lot of our community building attention. And one thing that I've noticed about PulseChain, and we build on 6 other blockchains outside of PulseChain right now, and we support all EVM chains. So we're constantly networking and engaging in other blockchains. One thing that PulseChain has uniquely that we haven't encountered in any other system is the builder connectivity and support and the social marketing, if you will, from the community itself. So right now, I could go to any builder on PulseChain. I know who the founder is. I know their Telegram handle. If I have a question about their product or their protocol, I'm sending them a message. We're hopping on a phone call. We're working together to figure it out. If someone launches a cool new feature, all of the PulseChain influencers and just community in general, it's so easy to spread a message across PulseChain. So if you're a builder and you're looking for that early startup, early stage support, that is the hardest thing for any project in crypto to accomplish, of building that community. If you come to PulseChain and you build something good, you're going to get instant support and basically instant virality in this community. So I would say that and my builders know how hard it is to get your name out there. That I would say is the primary builder benefit of PulseChain.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I love that you said you kind of know everybody, and you could, like, if there's something, you could get on a call right away and try to see how you guys could work together or improve things. I know a lot of people, developers, and I get it. Like, sometimes it is hard to get around, especially if you're new. I mean, everybody has been there, right? Growing our socials account, getting out there, getting the word out. So it's kind of nice that you guys are kind of building that ecosystem of, hey, developers get that support within your own community with, the calls that represent the community. So it's kind of like a win-win. Like, you guys work together, and it's kind of like, I wish that more people would do this, but obviously, like, I know that, you guys are kind of fostering that and making sure, like, you guys are bringing good utility. So if you guys are developers, definitely follow this account, Internet Money. This is pretty awesome to hear. So thank you for that. And I guess the next question that I'm going to go, because it's kind of related to this. So, in what ways does PulseChain aim to improve scalability and lower transaction fee compared to Ethereum?
I'll start that one out. Ethereum was essentially PulseChain's testnet. So it's the same code from Ethereum. We're behind a couple updates, but they can be implemented in the future in order. So it's just a much lower starting point for the price of the gas. So what in the past has cost you $400 to do on Ethereum can be done for pennies, literally, on PulseChain the majority of the time. One of the main reasons that Richard Hart launched PulseChain was so that HEX stakers, and they stake for up to 15 years, 5,555 days, and who knows what the Ethereum price is going to be, 15 years from now, that they would have a less expensive option to end their stakes, which can be quite expensive on Ethereum. So that's one of the main reasons that PulseChain exists, was for those HEX stakes. Does somebody else have another comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody want to kind of join or add to that, that would be great. But also, I mean, who doesn't remember the Ethereum back then when freaking fees were over $300? And, that was crazy. I think I ended up paying that just once, because I couldn't do that. I was like, oh, no, I cannot be spending $300 to $400 on gas fees. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about PulseChain is that as it grows, I mean, maybe gas fees won't be cheap forever, but and that's kind of, if you're a PulseChain holder, that's something you're like, oh, okay, there's trade-offs there, but I mean, maybe my PLS is worth a whole lot more, if you're starting to pay expensive gas fees. But it really is this, win-win scenario where, PulseChain is a fork of ETH, and whatever upgrades they get, we can decide whether to take them or not. The phrase is PulseChain or Ethereum is PulseChain's testnet instead of the other way around. So it really does have some very cool underrated advantages as far as developers go. Easy to come on board, same technology, and just cheaper, faster network. And again, if there's high gas fees on PulseChain in the future, that may be a good thing for holders.
And what else we could say about this here is that it kind of takes us back to a time that a lot of us remember very fondly in America, the 1990s, where everything felt like it was cheaper and everything felt like it was better. I mean, Back then, I remember McDonald's hamburgers, you get 2 for $1. Those were the good old days. They don't come back, apparently. All the greatest movies we had came out in the 90s. Wrestling was better in the 90s, but why? Well, it was because of competition. Guys in here might remember the Monday Night War, WCW versus WWF, and how you'd switch back and forth between the channels because both of them were just so good you couldn't miss anything. Well, imagine we had a McDonald's on one side of the street, and it was just so packed. The drive-thru always had a line going all the way out to the road. The best thing you could do is also build another McDonald's on the other side of the street, or even a Burger King on the other side of the street to relieve the pressure from that drive-thru. PulseChain does that specifically for Ethereum, with all of the clogging and congestion going through Ethereum, even though they tried to relieve a lot of it with the Layer 2s. With all of that, we can relieve a lot of the pressure by having an alternative that people can use and also conduct the same transactions on and play with the same coins on, because all the coins that you had in your Ethereum address on your Ethereum wallet, you have those waiting for you on PulseChain if you haven't claimed them yet. So we can do all of the exact same things, and we can do it cheaper. And I imagine that at some point it's going to bounce back and forth here of like which one is smoother or easier to use, because just PulseChain existing the way that it does is encouraging Ethereum to get its act together and get better. So you don't even have to necessarily have to be a PulseChain user to benefit from the existence of it.
Reinvent. I really love that analogy. You took me back to down memory lane for sure. Given that, conversation, again, reduction in gas fees, which is absolutely phenomenal, as, new onboarding users may not have a ton of liquidity to go ahead and pump into PulseChain or into HEX. What is the best avenues for users to participate and get involved in PulseChain and HEX? What decks are you guys on? What exchanges are you currently listed on? Share some of that information with the community if you can.
KG, I see you probably have some ideas of how people could get onto the chain. What do you got?
Hey guys, can I just jump in really quick? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have like maybe 3 minutes.
Go for it, Tam.
Hello everyone, my name is Tam and I'm at work. I'm in between patients right now, so I'm sorry. I don't have long to speak, but I wanted to jump in here and thank Crypto Empress for being so beautiful and for inviting us all into her space today. I was so pumped about this, and I appreciate that Fast has also done an excellent job in making this connection for us. I love your vibes, and I enjoy you and your husband's sense of humor. You guys are so fun. It's an honor to be here with some of my best mentors. I'll go on record and say that many here will go down in history as financial legends. The people in this room, I can say with certainty, are some of the smartest and brightest in the entire space. Richard Hart, I would have to say that if there's anything that I would summarize here, he didn't build his assets to be just another crypto financial competitor. He built his assets to win and to outclass everything. Everything meaning real estate, all other crypto assets, stocks, bonds, you name it. He built these assets to beat everything. And I have zero doubt that he will achieve this. And that's why I don't bother with anything else. I know that's a very bold statement, but that's why I'm all in. I see something in Richard Hart that I've never seen in anyone in my life. And I can't imagine investing my money anywhere else ever again than in his assets. And I'm in it to win it with him. I'm here to grow. This community brings out my best. I believe that when you surround yourself with the best, you become the best. And that's what this community has done for me. And that's why I'm here right now speaking. Sadly, I have to go because I have 2 patients waiting in the chair, but I will be listening with my earbud in the background with pride. I love you guys. I'm excited to see what we all achieve together in the decades ahead. And I hope that we have these conversations more often. In my opinion, this is just the beginning.
So awesome that she got time to come, and thank you for everything that you have done for the community as well.
The thing about family
is it's always got to come first, right? And one of the things I love about the Hex community is genuinely like a second family, warts and all. You know, there's the black sheep of the family, and then there's, you know, the ones that you hold near and dear, and the ones you roll your eyes at, and that's just the nature of it. But I truly believe you've gotten a really good group of representation of the community. Some of the smartest people I think in crypto are in PulseChain and Hex. I was an early believer. I started off back in 2018, stumbled across Richard Hart on a video with Doug Polk talking about a token idea that he had at the time, and I was really struck by how earnest he was about you know, the changes he wanted to see in crypto and in the world. And it didn't sound like a sales pitch to me. It sounded like someone that really genuinely cared about this idea that he had. I believe the token was called CBD at the time. As I think Central or CED something. It was something about fluid dynamics, CDF, I believe it was. Computational fluid dynamics, and he was going to be using the proceeds of the generation of the fees or whatnot to help with scientific endeavors around the world, something to that effect. But whatever it was very altruistic. Sounded like a brilliant idea. If no one's done it yet, it still, I think, is a viable idea. And then that morphed over time into Bitcoin Hex and then ultimately Hex. So I'd become an avid follower. As time went on, you know, I got into Hex very early. You know, didn't understand staking completely at first, didn't understand how T-shares work, just kind of willy-nilly threw a staking ladder together. That kind of bit me in the butt in hindsight, because I was one of the people. I heard you guys talking earlier about the ridiculous ETH fees, which prompted you know, Richard's desire to fork Ethereum and create PulseChain, is to try to circumvent that. I had not one stake coming out, but 2 stakes in 2 days. I didn't space them out 3 to 4 months apart like I recommend to everyone now, you know, a staking ladder. I had stakes on 2 consecutive days, and it cost me $1,500 in ETH each. So I spent $3,000 in fees. You know, now granted, at the time, those 2 stakes were, you know, well over $300,000. And so I wasn't too upset about it, but still, in hindsight, that is a remarkable amount of gas to pay. And I can understand firsthand why he was so upset with, you know, the S-load function and other things that have been changed in updates to Ethereum. That was really punitive toward Hex. Now, whether it was by design and they were gatekeeping us, or, you know, singling us out, you know, that's up for debate. But the fact of the matter is, a change needed to come. And, you know, Richard saw it and realized, hey, this is not the hardest problem in the world to solve. And you know, like in Vince's example of a multiple McDonald's lining the street, there's a need. And then we cover that. Actually, you know, my story goes from a guy that found him on you know, the internet, to following him and then becoming an investor, to ultimately, you know, I was able to retire relatively young from my professional life, not because of crypto. And I had heard about this movie that was being funded by a small group of, there were a bunch of donations, and then there was a small group of producers that had thrown in to create a movie called The Highest of Stakes, that you may have heard of. And just the timing worked out such that it was right around the time I had retired, and I had been in communication with them, and they knew that I was a guy that would not have to sell any crypto to participate. So I did, and I helped them get it across the finish line. So I would highly encourage any of your audience, or you, if you haven't seen it yourself, there's a documentary called The Highest of Stakes, which I think does a really good job and is beautifully shot. Incredible score, you know, original score with an orchestra that we had hired. And you'll see me up in lights. Toby One Hexobi in the credits is one of the producers, but you know, RG3 and Kinetics and Quattro Cinco and Rackham Rishel and some other notable characters in the community all pitched in to get that thing done. So that's huge. That's a giant arc, you know, from seeing a YouTube video to then helping with a well over $1 million production of a crowd-funded documentary on the story of the founder. And what's kind of fun about it is it really does tell you about that guy that I saw, which was the dude with the top hat, very earnest, very honest, very altruistic gentleman that seemed like he really wanted to impact people's lives, to where a lot of your audience may have first seen him, which was twerking on a G-Wagon and dancing on a stripper pole, like all the crazy outrageous things that he came to be known for good or bad. And the movie not only touches on that, but really dives into why that all happened. And I think there's a lot of people still to this day that have a negative connotation around Richard because they saw that and it was off-putting. And there's a very telling scene. I don't want to spoil it, but they're basically asking him why he wants to do this, and it's the same reason we all want to kind of participate in life to varying degrees, and it's we want to be loved, right? And Richard wants to be loved. It's like he wants to be known as the greatest founder ever in the history.
I believe that what Crypto Empress and all of her listeners here probably want to hear is, why should they invest in Hex, in the sense of like, how is Hex and PulseChain going to make them money? What kind of return and reward they could expect from doing that? I mean, not financial advice, but like, what is the draw? Why is it going to make more money than, say, other coins? I believe that that's probably what you want to find out. Do I have that right?
I mean, let's be honest. Everybody here in crypto, everybody wants to know how to make more money, to be financial stable or financial freedom. So, sure, that could be one of the questions that my investors will love to hear.
That's right. Everybody's here to make money except for Fast Abdul. He's here just for the tech. Here, let's get into why it is that Hex is going to go up in price, why we're drawn to it as investors, why we're expecting to make a lot of money from it. And it starts with what I would call, and I discussed this on my YouTube channel, I call this now Cairo's Law, and that is that M2 growth is the baseline of all bull runs in crypto. The reason the bull cycle happens, or the reason the crypto cycle happens at all, is because of M2 growth. And what I'm working on is I'm trying to like pinpoint exactly what that growth is. It has been different cycle to cycle. In the 2017 cycle, for every dollar that was added to global M2, the crypto market cap, and I mean the total crypto market cap, went up by 6 cents. And then in 2021, it was about 9 to 10 cents for every dollar added to M2 growth. Right now, what I'm judging is that for every dollar that's going to get added to global M2, the entire crypto market cap will go up by 11 cents. Now, that 11 cents will not be distributed across crypto evenly. We're already used to the entire crypto market being very top heavy. I mean, Bitcoin itself makes up 57% of the entire market. It's very top heavy. But what coins will benefit the most from that M2 growth? What coins are going to get like the most push, the biggest, what we call it pump, or you can call it pumpamentals, is what our founder called it. Pumpamentals is what's pushing these coins up in the dramatic exponential percent growth that they experience. What's going to do that is going to be the coins that have the lowest liquidity. You may have seen a ton of this on X, where people are posting, oh, there's a supply shock coming for Bitcoin. There's a supply shock coming for Ethereum because the supply of those guys on the exchanges is so low. Well, there's another coin, or another set of coins, in fact, an entire ecosystem that has extremely low liquidity because most of the supply is locked up. So the increase in crypto market cap will not be linear for all coins. It will be exponential and asymmetric for a few coins. And what's going to determine that is that the lower the liquidity, the greater the asymmetry will be. And where I see the greatest asymmetry, and this is what has attracted me to invest in the PulseChain and HEX ecosystems, is the fact that it has the lowest liquidity that I can find. I mean, just on HEX by itself, the liquidity that's there is just 330 million hex, which means you could scoop all that up with about $2.5 million right now. And for us here, like, you could get that on a Tuesday. And on top of that, while we have asymmetric gains ahead of us when that M2 growth comes in, and when people are looking for ways to hedge their money and protect their dollars to outpace inflation, you have an opportunity right now to not just get asymmetric growth, you have an opportunity to make what I call asymmetric purchases, just because of how low these coins are priced. And what I mean by an asymmetric purchase is I put in $1, but I get more than one coin. We can also call that maybe the penny coin theory, where you get more than one for $1. You will get a bunch of these coins for $1. For every dollar that you buy right here, you're going to get a whole bunch. I'll tell you exactly how much here. You'd get, let's see, over on Hex, at the price right now, you'd get 136 units of Hex for $1. So you have the ability to accumulate enough of these coins to become a whale. Probably if you did like a daily DCA for an entire year or two, you'd have a huge stack of them. So you got the asymmetric purchases to build your position up, and then when those asymmetric returns come in, that's life-changing wealth that you could never possibly run out of. Or you'd have to do like some real foolish spending, doing like, you know, like Michael, what was his name? Mike Tyson buying tigers for fun to blow through all of that wealth. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm invested in Hex. That's what attracts me to it, is like the asymmetric opportunity. I see it greater here than anywhere else.
So that you can
mic drop. Thank you so much for that info. What is Pulse X, and what role does it play within the Pulsechain ecosystem, and how can users benefit from it?
Do we have any PulseX maxis in the crowd? I suspect we do.
I think you're a PulseX Maxi fast. Why don't you take that one?
I could, yeah. So PulseX is the main DEX on PulseChain, and it has a token called PLSX. PLSX is deflationary. Every transaction that happens on the DEX, a portion of the transaction fees go to buy and burn PulseX. Now, there's an important distinction here. It doesn't just burn PulseX. It doesn't take it from some mysterious supply that nobody has. It buys it off the DEX and then sends it to the burn address where it can never return. So that's like over time, like we might end up in a situation where 99% of the tokens are burned. And the main buyer will be the DEX itself, buying its own token continuously forever. And there's other DEXs on PulseChain. There's DEX aggregators, but the vast majority of all transactions on PulseChain, whether they're through an aggregator or directly on PulseX, tend to go through PulseX, and so they're burning some PLSX tokens. On top of that, PulseX features farming. There's the ink farms. There's an additional token called ink that may have a future mystery purpose in the ecosystem, but for right now, it's the farming token. And so there's farms where you can farm Pulse versus PulseX, various stablecoin options, right on the DEX itself. So it's pretty much the same thing as PancakeSwap, which many people are familiar with. It's good code, very, very tested. And yeah, it brings in millions into the ecosystem. Right now, the farms aren't paying a lot by design. I suspect they will again in the future. I have a suspicion that Richard lowered the yield on the farms so that the liquidity would go down, so that there would be additional pumpage when the price went up with lower liquidity. Did you have something to add to that, KR? I see your hand up.
Okay, so I wanted to say, number one, out of all the Richard Hart tokens, in my humble opinion, PulseX has the best tokenomics because it buys and burns itself. And also, I was going to add to Fast Abdul's point about Ink. In my opinion, Ink is one of the most important tokens of this ecosystem. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me. But to me personally, the reason why is that because that is your exit liquidity long term, right? Because the farms, when the farms do become profitable again, and when people add to the farms, guess what happens? You know that. So that's why Ink, to me personally, is one of the most important tokens in the ecosystem. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for that. I did see a post recently that Richard Hart just posted. The bridge.pulsechain.com UI has been updated to the 1.10 testnet, or continues to enjoy using the other front end. So can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Triplet Dad, did you want to address the bridge issues?
I wanted to actually talk about marketing a little bit, but the bridge issue seems to be sorted out, right? We had some people within the ecosystem that were having issues with the bridge over the past couple of weeks, and it seemed to be hit and miss. Some people were having issues, some people were not. Some wallets were having issues, some were not. I don't think Internet Money had issues with it. There were several people out there that were creating a little bit of FUD out there, but all resolved. Bridge is fine. I
Just to
enjoy
be clear,
having
they
that.
weren't security issues, right? They were
They were
just, it
not.
was just
They were not.
connection issues people are having. There was zero hacks on this bridge. It's, I want to call it multi-bridge, but I've looked at it before. The fork code has been forked many times. It's probably the best way to build a bridge there is.
I agree. The marketing side of this, though, is unlike any other ecosystem that I've been involved with, and I was a degen on many chains prior to showing up to the PulseChain ecosystem. Right, a lot of people on this panel, Crypto Coffee, Internet Money, Max, Toby, Corey, a lot of those guys right there, they have funded PulseChain Tour, which showed up all over the country. I know we helped fund the PulseChain Tour, and that was a bunch of people that traveled across the country. I've never seen that happen in any other ecosystem. They traveled across this country and actually toured Europe to increase awareness of PulseChain, right? Right now, Richard Hart has a bunch of tablets that you may or may not have seen on X that are showing up at people's doorsteps. And I think I saw something today that there's 130,000 of those things floating around already. And I know there's about I would say another 500,000 more that are getting ready to take flight in some form or fashion. And people all over the country are coming in to help, right? I know that probably Coffee should talk about this a little bit, right? I know he's come in to help a lot. I know he's involved with this quite a bit. Fast Abdul came from Canada to help ship packages out and receive freight to show support for this plan that Richard Hart has, right? I came from the Bay Area, went down to Southern California and helped ship boxes. I'm going to do it again in October. The support within this community to get a message out to mainstream people is like none other. It's absolutely incredible.
This marketing thing is actually pretty wild, Crypto Empress. It's something I don't think's ever been done before in crypto. Coffee, did you want to detail what's happening here? Because I think it's going to be a surprise to most people.
Yeah, of course I'm called to speak as soon as my fire alarm started going off just now. So it's just from me cooking a steak, no worries. But fuck, that's annoying. Yeah, we're doing a big marketing campaign. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's already underway. There's a very generous donor donating free gifts to everybody through a nonprofit. So what people don't realize about this marketing campaign is the scale, the magnitude of it. It is so big that I think most people just don't understand the impact it's going to have. There's already been, like somebody already said, triplet dead, 130-ish thousand units going out, and that's just about 1/10 of the goal. So there's a lot of memes about these LCD writing tablets floating around on PulseChain Twitter. Pretty funny memes. And hey, you might just get one in your mailbox pretty soon. We know something similar happened last cycle with hex postcards going out all over the place to crypto enthusiasts, and it caused quite a reaction, right? People either love it or hate it. I've never seen anybody get so triggered by a direct mail. People don't have these same emotional reactions when they get a Domino's pizza coupon in the mailbox, but they seem to really feel strongly about getting a free gift, a free $10 LCD writing device, and that's how you bring new people in. You target new people. The one thing we forget a lot of times is that we're basically talking to each other here. I don't know how many PulseChain people are on this call. I see a lot of us, and it's really great to see. It's amazing. It makes me proud and hopeful and optimistic because everyone's doing a little something here on their own angle. But there's a whole world out there outside of Twitter, especially outside of crypto Twitter. So to go viral is something that we're very focused on as a community, and trying these new things is something that has to be done. You have to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And believe it or not, people can talk all the shit they want to talk. It's mostly from people that have never done marketing, in the real world. But direct mail has a 10 times higher success rate than something like email marketing. I mean, it's a physical thing that lands in your mail that drives curiosity. So we're not going to see the effects of that in the chart right away. It's not so simple as send out mail, number go up. But these are planting seeds, millions of seeds across the world. Maybe the USA for now, maybe even bigger one day. Other countries, and Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX are going to be a household name. And it's it would be nice if when the prices are up, when Ethereum is $10,000 and when people are actually euphoric, because believe it or not, retail has not truly come back yet in the mania that we all have been hoping for. But it would be nice when all these conditions are right that people have had some previous impressions. And these mailers that are being sent out are kind of like postcards on steroids. They're not going to end up in the garbage, hopefully, because they're an actual tangible device that gets looked at every day. And it's all about making those impressions on different mediums multiple times and creating the illusion of ubiquity across, again, the whole USA and maybe even bigger. But I got to get going. But thank you for hosting the space, Crypto Empress. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I'm glad to see all of you guys kind of rally up. I mean, it's pretty bullish to see you guys all come together. Please don't burn your house. I hope that the alarm just goes off and you eat your steak, like not rushing, but hopefully you don't burn your steak. We want to make sure that you come back to another show. And yeah, so I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit one more thing that you guys were talking about. Obviously, the resources, and I know that you guys do also. I seen some pictures. There's like conventions too. Like, do you guys have events too as well in real world? Like, you know, like a convention that I seen before. I don't know. I saw it between doing my research. I see people coming together to do some kind of like a convention. Does PulseChain and HEX have a convention that every year, or am I crazy?
We sure do.
RH Max has done a great online one recently, and then Maddie Allen famously did started the original ones that were actually in person, which grew from just local Hexagon meetups. So also very grassroots situation that evolved into a national meetup. I believe I think the first one, the fastest we'll remember, was in Vegas. And I had the pleasure of speaking at some of those in-person meetups, and then there's been online conferences ongoing. RH Max did a great one. Maddie just did one recently, I believe, for Pulse Chain, and then RH Max, I believe, did one for Pulse X with tens and hundreds of speakers. And I believe Maddie even set a world record for the most streamers on screen at one time. So yeah, in answer to your question, yeah, the community is very active in the real world.
And let's not gloss over that, right? The first event that we had, the first PulseChain conference in Vegas, I was involved with a group of people that had DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit DJing at a party. Everybody had a great time. There was a golf event that was put on with crypto prizes that were involved. That took place again this last year with another golf event in Vegas and a whole bunch of this was a PulseChain tour event, a whole bunch of learning conferences and people getting up to speak, show their wares, talk about where this ecosystem is going in the future. A lot of the talk about the tablets or the marketing material, because nobody knew it was a tablet back then, was starting to buzz about that time. And that PulseChain tour, RG3, I wish he was up here to talk about it, but he sponsored an event that took place in, I think there was 3 different places here in California. Then it went to all over the country. Went to Oregon, Portland, Seattle, New York, Chicago, Miami, Austin, all over the country. So there are,
not to mention Europe. Right? They went to
all
Europe
over
too.
Europe, and I don't even remember the places they hit in Europe. There are PulseChain events happening every year around the world. I think I just saw one that happened in Australia not too long ago. There is a community within this RH ecosystem that is forever meeting and trying to grow. And the amount of people involved in it that throw their own time and money. RH Max, the one that he just did on PulseX and HEX, that was an unbelievable, I don't know how many days that was altogether, probably close to 11, 12 days altogether of streaming content. It is absolutely badass. Go ahead, Max.
I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, we had almost, for Hex Week, about 30 hours of content, I think 25, 30 hours, somewhere through there, and a ton of speakers, just people talking about everything built on Hex. I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised. It was amazing, even this entire year, through the ups and downs with the charts. And and everything going on in crypto. It's just been great to see the a lot of the communities still getting together,
Lost it,
still
Max.
doing the events, and we've had there's been how many so there's been the in-person events like you talked about. There's been plenty of online conferences. We've had 3 or 4 in the community this year. Maybe more to come. Who knows? But it's been, this community is unmatched as far as in-person events, meetups, gatherings, just putting the work together from the conferences too. But I did a couple of polls. I did Hex Week. I did a poll after that, and also the PulseX conference, and just the number of people saying, hey, did you get onboarded after the conference? I think somebody, maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 people or so for each one, somewhere in that range afterwards said they were onboarded because of the event. So that was pretty encouraging. And then, from that too, I do a lot of clips and stuff on the channel. Used to do a lot more, but from that, every day in September, got a new clip coming out on the channel about Hex from Hex Week, from all the amazing speakers we had doing presentations left and right. So this community is great. We definitely put in the work.
And I love that. I love that everybody's bringing something to the table. And obviously, I do see like the good and bad. I mean, and I get it too. Like every chain and everything here in crypto, sometimes we do have investors that are very close-minded, and I'm like, you got to start opening that mind, because there's different ways, like how we're going to grow an ecosystem just in general. And we were talking about this, like, we need more newbies into the blockchain, because we're kind of recycling each other's money sometimes. I know that we passed our hour, but I love the conversation that we're having. So what research learning materials are best practices that you would recommend for newcomers looking to safely explore and participate in the Hex or PulseChain ecosystem?
I'll just say on that real quick. I think if you just search Hex, PulseChain, onboarding, how to connect wallet, I think if you just go to YouTube and type in anything like that, you're going to find a ton of different content across different creators in the community. A lot of new stuff too. I've been trying to produce a lot more videos to do some of the simple stuff as we get new bridges and cross-chain swaps and stuff on board as well. And there's no shortage of information. I said that so many times, I feel like I'm quoting myself on stream sometime. Like, if you want to know how to get in Hex and PulseChain, and you're interested in the products, and you want to get into DeFi, you want to get into whatever it is on the network that you're interested in, there's a ton of playlists, a ton of people that can show you how to do it, either on X or on YouTube. You can do passive, active content. There's live streams, and there's weekly live streams. I think last week I streamed 7 days in a row or so. I was like, I had to check for a second. Did I stream that much? I'm trying to take a little bit, only 2-3 days this week, but there are a ton of people out there that could help you get started. So no shortage of information. And I mean, I don't know why people wouldn't be interested. I think, I think Richard, greatest, I've been following for 8 years at this point, and greatest man in crypto, not even close. I think people tend to forget that. Tons of builders, you've heard from a lot of them today, huge community, amazing DeFi stuff, new network, lots of opportunity, lots of bridges, lots of on-ramps, pre-viral. If you want the drama, you want the controversy, you have it. If you don't want to stay away from it, you can disengage as well. But it's the closest thing to magic I've ever seen. So I'll leave you with that.
Oh, I love it.
I wanted to give a gift to you to do whatever you wish with. If you want to give it to your to the people that are listening now, to your community, raffle it off, give it away, whatever you'd like. I'd like to gift you a limited edition box set of the Highest of Stakes movie. I believe those were retailing for like $555. Just hit me up with a DM, and we can figure out the arrangements to get that into your hands for you to share with your followers. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
And I mean, we've been in Hex since the very beginning, and now with PulseChain, I think everything's been growing really, really much larger. We have a lot more coins, and we also have a lot more people. So it's great to see that the marketing is actually starting to get out there a lot more, because Hex and everything is kind of infamous in the crypto space. I think that's a good thing, because that helps kind of for the whole community to go viral. So I mean, my main message that I wanted to kind of get across to everyone today is that each person here can kind of do a little bit of something, right? I know Coffee SJ and a lot of those guys are doing a lot with the tablets, and I think a lot of people tend to sit back and just kind of let everybody else, take the wheel and drive and just kind of be a fly on the wall. And I think a lot of people, they think, oh, I only have, a couple hundred people following me on Twitter or whatever. I can't, have that much impact. But I think that's absolutely false. I think the louder that this community is, the better, not only to get attention in the crypto space, but more importantly, people who have never been in crypto before. One of the things that I try to do with my platform is just be open to people who are brand new to crypto, because 99% of people who will be in crypto are not yet in crypto, in my opinion. So yeah, I think everybody here has family, friends, colleagues, stuff like that. Just get really big in your local area, have a meetup. It doesn't have to be PulseChain specific. It just can be a general crypto meetup. And then, discuss PulseChain while you're there. That's how I got into crypto at the very beginning, was just simple meetups when I was based in Tokyo. And those had huge impact. But yeah, I just kind of recommend everybody out here to, follow each other, retweet each other, be positive, and then, continue to grow the space. So that's what we're trying to do every single day. And I think everybody else can do that, just a little bit. But I also wanted to give a shout out to the Black Hexagon Kaylin, because she did put up a lot of those things with RG for the PulseChain tours. She coordinated the hell out of those things, and I know it was a lot of work for her, and she sometimes doesn't get the flowers or the credit for doing so. So I just wanted to mention her as well. But yeah, everybody has boots on the ground. Everybody has people that listen to them. So get the word out there, because it can help change everybody's financial future.
Oh man, I just love what you just said, and I probably say this to the community over and over and over. When it comes to marketing, right? Like there's different types of marketing, and obviously we are all marketers now at this point. If you believe in something, and I always say it doesn't matter how big your account is or how small, as long as you're putting something out there with your account and actually, start growing that following, and slowly but surely kind of telling people why you're so bullish on this project goes a long way. And people don't really realize that. The people that FUD projects and all that, I go through their account and I go after them. I'm like, so what are you doing differently? Like, are you working your bags? What value are you bringing other than negativity? Like, okay, if you have nothing good to say, just stay away. Let the pros and the people that are really trying to do something do their work. And you sometimes have to just get out there. So I always say there's no excuses for anyone. Anyone in the audience, like if you want to really like make something amazing, or you believe in ecosystem, just talk about it.
I just want to ask a question. What's your intuition after hearing all these fantastic influencers break down Hex and explain about the tokens? What do you feel yourself regarding PulseChain?
Oh man. So I was talking too fast earlier, and I did open a space today, and I had my questions. Obviously, when I do like research, those are kind of like the basic stuff that I like to kind of work and then work my way up. And I'm all about like community. I want to know that I know that my money's going to be working regardless if I'm doing something else, but like there is a community behind what I'm investing. And today I have to say, you guys are really loud community. Kind of love everything that you guys are doing, how you guys show up for one another. The fact that everybody's bringing value to your channels, you're talking about it. You're spending your own time to share information. Like I'm telling you guys, that is priceless. Even for myself, like I'm here. I'm still going. Normally those spaces go for 1 hour, but I'm listening to the community. That's what drives me, like you guys. So I told Fast that, and I was like, it's kind of nice to see that. Like, yeah, for sure. Like I'm getting kind of bullish to kind of see, oh, okay, I probably need to dive more into it, this whole ecosystem. So that's what my take is. Like, I'm definitely gonna keep doing my research and talk to Fast, because he's really knowledgeable, and also he breaks it down to my questions like the way that I need to be kind of taught or learned. So thank you for that question. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for the community, like who showed up.
And just a last question,
Yeah.
Crypto Empress. Why is Xavier quiet like a mouse in the house? Are we going to hear about our friend Xavier? Is he going to step up?
Ooh.
Your secrets, Xavier.
Yo, hey, how you guys doing? I've been listening to you guys and learning so much. I won't say that I'm perfect at the moment. So yeah, I'm just learning so much. And I've gathered like a lot of information from the space itself. So the only thing that I have to say, the Pulse Chain community is still what it is, still the best, and they come in numbers. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to dispute the mere fact that there are people that get blocked by Richard Hart, and there are people that don't get blocked by Richard Hart. So it's with the negativity and it's with the people that show positivity for other people to come into the community and come and spread love and come and invest. So rather than that, yeah, the community is good. I've learned so much. Fast is one of the honest guys that sometimes I reach out to and ask some questions about specific things. And yeah, man, you have a lot of people out of the Pulse Chain community that you can learn from. And most of you guys are just perfect. And I like most people that get to say that, you know what, we are invested in whatever that Richard Hart is invested in. They don't just jump to other projects because other projects are like crazy. They're literally crazy. So big ups to that, guys, and really appreciate it.
Been listening in since KG was finishing up there on Internet Money while I was traveling in the vehicle, and seems like a lot of everything has been covered. So whatever my 2 cents is to add is I just for people who don't know me, there's so many giants here in the room, OGs that I recognize. Some I've met in person out in Vegas at the different crypto conferences, but just as a proponent of Hex. I'm give you my background. I'm originally a day one Hexagon. So when Richard Hart said don't FOMO in on day one, well, I'm one of those guys. That being said, I think 9 years in crypto, but just a big proponent, have been here throughout the bear markets, was here for the last bull market, and just love to see the growth that has happened within the community. I know that we've had some peel offs and some negative sentiments, but that's to be expected in any arena of life. But for those who have the stick to itiveness, I think that they will be well rewarded. And one of the greatest things about Hex is the concept of delayed gratification. And that has for people, old school language was staking your Hex or mining your Hex. There's a lot of us here that are 5555, Quattro Cinco. So we're in it to win it for the long haul. So love us or hate us in the community, we're going to be with each other for a while. That being said, I always try to encourage people to take the long game when it comes to crypto investment. I'm an old Warren Buffett type style investor, so his saying was, if you can't be in it for at least 5 years, don't be in it for 5 minutes. But it has been well rewarding. I can sit there and say that, with a very minimal amount of initial expenditure into the Hex token, and I followed Richard since his top out days. I became retired thanks to Hex in the first round that we had. And I've also sacrificed, if somebody's mentioned that, I sacrificed for the Pulse chain, for PLS, and as well as for PLSX, freedom of speech, freedom of movement. So not only are those things that something that Richard himself touts as important, but the baseline for that is, the ideas of freedom, to be able to go and speak. And as Richard has put out, blockchain is speech. What's said on the blockchain is a way of expression. And it's not only just for financial gain, although I hope everybody listening here gets filthy rich.
So like we're doing like quite a massive marketing operation and mailing out like in total probably a million devices around the country. Yeah, I think out of the country as well. And it's RG3 and SJ and Crypto Coffee who pretty much are running that. So I just want to give all three of them a big shout out.